Hey everyone, Stacks here, checking out Fallen Angels #1. Bryan Hill writing, Szymon Kudranski with the art, the pencils and inks, and Frank DeMarta on colors. And just discussing with my friends over at Comic Aficionados, this seems to be like a very divisive book. Some people love it and some people hate it. So let's get into it. And as always, I promise I will tell you if I like it or if I didn't. I'm not going to I've typically kind of sugarcoat it because I'm a nice guy, but I'm going to tell you honestly what I truly think about the book. The book starts in Japan in a subway, and you have an undisclosed narrator describing who Kwannon is. Kwannon, the goddess of mercy. In Japan, you can find a statue of her holding a child. Mercy is my name. And then she goes into talking about how it's not my way. I've been robbed of that. I've been robbed of my own body. And during this time of darkness, I hoped she was happy and free. So it becomes apparent pretty quick that it's Kwannon talking, but she goes on to say, I still think of her. And for years was only me who lived in the world. I pray that she found love and peace, and most of all, mercy. And in the frame, you see this child reach in her pocket, pull out this device, and attach it to her temple. And once she does that, she closes her eyes, open them back up, and she got complete blackness in her eyes and just black tears running down. And from there, she snaps one of the poles of the subway in half and starts just clobbering people. While that's going on, the dialogue continues saying, little one, don't let war find you. If they marked you, be more than that. I pray you are better than me, that you never know fear. From there, the child breaks into the subway conductor's room, slams his head down, and just pushes the lever for the accelerator on the subway to full, and says Apothe as she drives forward. The rest of the dialogue is Kwannon continuing to say that you will never cause harm, little one. You are a product of love. It is a shame that I never held you. I was not free then, but I'm free now. I have never spoken of you. You have never known me because I am not safe to know, but we have a place now, Krakoa. Soon I will tell you of it, little one. We both have earned our mercy. And all of that being said as this train just balls up and the subway crashes and just is a twisted, mangled wreck. From there you jump to Krakoa, where you have Psylocke sitting in this garden talking about how each breath tastes like jasmine. She's explaining how this place is absolute paradise. And she takes her sword out, she places her thumb on the blade and says, here I need to make my pain to be reminded of it. And even spilled blood brings new life. And she discusses to herself if she's going to allow herself to embrace this paradise and enjoy it. And if she's contemplating if she deserves it and if she can be a part of it. And as she decides, yes, I can. And then suddenly as she relaxes, there's a voice in her head. And when it hits her like a ton of bricks. And it's like, you are not dreaming, Psylocke. Listen. These are the most important words you will ever hear. Your enemy is named Apothe. You will kill a god. Little g. Do not ask my name. When Abraham heard the voice of truth, he did not ask. He listened. He placed his child on the slab. He raised the knife. I am truth, and you are not dreaming. You will wither here, Psylocke, in the bosom of Xavier's peace. Take up this war. And from there we get an explanation that ties right into this mutant versus human war that is going on now. It says, mankind is evolving itself. Apothe is the tetragrammaton, the new name of God, and by peace shall he unite all and destroy many. To Tokyo, the train. It begins with the train. He has already taken something precious from you. Stop him. This is not a dream. And at that point, she says Apothe drops to the ground and immediately makes a beeline for Magneto. Of course, this has happened after X-Force #1, so Professor Xavier is currently dead. Well, Psylocke explains everything that's happened, and she actually says that she wants to be called Psylocke and not Kwannon. I mean, Magneto just straight up asks, what shall I call you now? But after this is all explained to Magneto, he's like, look, it's difficult for me to think like Charles, but something tells me he would tell you to leave the matters of humans to humans. From there, Magneto's curiosity gets the better of him. He says, Braddock hated me. Speaking of Betsy Braddock, when she was in the body of Kwannon. But Magneto says, Braddock hated me. Hate like a psychic dagger. She ran through my mind. Do you remember? And Psylocke replies, I'm not Elizabeth Braddock, and from what Xavier's told me, I'm not sure that hate matters anymore. Magneto replies, hate always matters. You've had a bad dream, Psylocke. In the wake of Xavier's death, we're on lockdown. There will be no passage from Krakoa. Your request to leave is denied. And at that point, Psylocke loses it a little bit and tells him, look, this is no dream and we're not safe. And Magneto says, you know, I prefer you this way. And she's still ticked. She's like, I don't care what you prefer. He said, you'll care what I have to say next, though. And he tells her, while you may not be able to leave the island, you should go east. Go visit Sinister. Tell him your visions. He may find them of interest. And Psylocke's kind of confused by the whole thing. She's like, you gave me a rule and now you're telling me, you're helping me break it. He's like, I have no idea what you mean. In my grief over Charles' death, I forget conversations. Officially. She then thanks him. He's like, don't thank me. I haven't done anything. And while this whole conversation seems kind of weird, I think it's very much Magneto building in that plausible deniability of a politician, basically. Because with Xavier down, that means he becomes the face of Krakoa and the mutant government. From there, we jump to Psylocke having a conversation with Mr. Sinister over at Bar Sinister. And it's pretty cool how he's got the DNA 3D model in front of him, knowing that he is this psychogeneticist. But the conversation here with Mr. Sinister is like a dance. It's just this semi-creepy, so here's what I would do, here's what I think, and him probing and asking questions the whole way, manipulating slightly, asking those questions that are uncomfortable. He asks her, when Betsy Braddock had your body, where were you? And she says, look, I was in fire, I was burning, and no one could hear me. And Sinister actually plants the seed of, you could kill her now, punish her, you could get a few new scars, you'd get a few new scars, but I doubt she could stop you. How would you kill her? And Psylocke actually responds the same way I would kill anybody, quickly. And Sinister has that creepy smile and says, would you allow her to scream? And Psylocke stops her, says, enough, help me leave Krakoa. And he grants passage, but he says, I won't let you go alone. You need to go find somebody to take with you. And she's like, no one trusts me here. She's like, oh, you'll find somebody who wants something to destroy. I got to get back to work. Thank you for not being boring. And has a just creepy smile. This is the Mr. Sinister you think of. The creepy, not the weird eccentric one. This creepy dude. It's so much written so much better. From there, we jump to a bonfire, which I do really kind of wonder how Krakoa feels about that. But you have X-23 sitting there looking into the flames, and you have Cable come up and start asking her, hey, you don't dance? You don't like the music? What is it? And she's like, this isn't how I like to party. And Cable's like, well, what do you do for fun? He's like, Laura's like, I could show you, but it might hurt a little bit. And he gets his grin and says, don't make promises you can't keep. She replies, never, balls up her fist, and punches him straight in the nose. Anyway, she ends up sweeping the leg, takes him down pretty quick, and he looks up and says, hey, you feel better? And she just replies, I don't feel anything, because nothing here matters. Mutants have never been this safe, and safety sucks. At that point, Psylocke pops out from nowhere and is like, Laura, Kenny, Nathan Summers, my name is Psylocke. I need to speak to you both. My home's down by the reservoir. Come on and join me. And both of them are like, she's not safe. Like, no, she's not. And then Psylocke happens to walk by Betsy Braddock. And Betsy says, I was wondering if we could, and Psylocke just turns, keeps walking, and says, we don't need to. Just to give you a quick rundown of the recruiting process here, basically she's like, look, here's what I want to go do. And then she steps outside and talks to Laura. Laura's like, look, Cable deserves Krakoa. Leave him here. He has his family. He's a soldier, though. He'll do what you tell him to do, but leave him here. I'll go. And Kwannon, or Psylocke, asks her, what is it that you deserve? She's like, I deserve a life without Logan's shadow. So, like that, boom, Cable stays behind. They go on, and next thing you know, they're in Tokyo. Psylocke, when she gets there, instantly plugs into the black market network, starts trying to find out what is going on and what she could find out about this Apothe. This train incident instantly leads her to a drug called Overclock, and that's the device that was hooked to her head. It's not a drug per se, but it's a device that amplifies the mind. Connecting the train incident, the Overclock drug, you find out that Apothe is the source of Overclock. Now, while she's finding out about all this, she watches the video from the train station. She watches the girl hook on the overclock device. She notices the tattoo on her neck, and suddenly she's kind of out of it. And Laura's asking her, "Psy, what's wrong?" And Psylocke has a flashback to her, she's crying and tears rolling down her face, and has her teacher, her sensei or whatever, telling her, "Remember this pain, Kwannon. You loved the boy and we killed him, and your daughter must be taken from you. Love is weakness. Remember this." And her teacher tells her, "You will need this memory when you think you can't endure. Remember what you endure now. We will mark her with a butterfly, and if the fates are kind, perhaps you will find her again. We are merciful here." And with that memory hitting her, she just whips out the psychic blade, holds it to this black market dealer's head, and says, "Where is Apothe? Tell me or I'll scramble your mind like eggs. I will find it anyways." And Laura's right there whipping out the claw saying, "Easy boy, my friend's here asking questions." Well, old girl wants to try to hesitate and talk her way out of that, and Psylocke ain't playing. She plunges the psychic dagger right through her head, and it's like, boom, we got the information we need, let's go. And I love this part right here, because during this fight and as everything's wrapping up, Laura asks, "Can you tell me what's going on here?" And Psylocke's, "No, I can show you." And she just touches her and shows her, and so instantly Laura is caught up on everything going on with Kwannon. So you don't have to have this long explanation and drawn out exposition about, oh, well, everything we just learned, you know what I mean? From there, you have a couple white pages about Overclock, and it's just talking about how basically this is a pretty simple thing to manufacture and put together, and the components of it are pretty accessible. So there's no good way for regulation to catch up. You can't make the device illegal because all these components are relatively simple to acquire. And now these devices started in Southeast Asia, and they've already spread to North and South America. So this thing is already kind of spreading across the world. After you get the explanation of what Overclock is, you have the arrival of Psylocke and Laura at a barn. They swing the doors open, and you have a bunch of children in there with the black eyes and the black tears running down their face, which is always just creepy as sin to me. Of course, all these children are hooked to these overclock machines, and as they approach and say, "Look, we have to help them," they start screaming no, and they start seizuring out basically. And as they both agree that they need to find who did this, you have one of the children that's still standing say, "I did this, not this child. It's just the speaker. I am the song, the mutant." And Psylocke delivers a warning. "Apothe, there's nowhere safe for you now." And Apothe replies, "You have taken an interest in me. It would be rude if I didn't take an interest in you." And Psylocke tells him, "You are a coward that kills children." And Apothe's reply is sick. He's like, "If you ever killed a child, you would know how hard it is. Go back to your exile, mutants. Without you, this world will finally evolve. Leave me to my peace." And with that, this final kid seizures out or whatever. And with that, Kwannon arrives back at Krakoa. She immediately goes to Sinister and tells her, "I brought purpose, Sinister." And Sinister's like, "Well, I brought cable." And this is where Psylocke strikes a deal with Sinister. And the deal is that she needs a team, and she needs to be protected from the council knowing of their existence. And in exchange, she will bring back Apothe, and whatever he is, Sinister can have it. And after Sinister's done whatever he wants to, Psylocke gets to kill him. And with that, as they leave, Psylocke tells Laura and Nathan, "Go find others that we can trust." And Laura's like, "You're giving us orders?" And Psylocke's like, "I don't have a chance. You are caterpillars, glistening and soft, but I can make you into butterflies." And it goes off some of the really cool imagery that's going on throughout this whole book. And that's it. So we're likely to get an expanded team going forward for Fallen Angels. So where I thought this book was good, I thought the writing was really good. I thought the imagery tied to in the writing was really good. I thought the characterizations were good. It was nice to see creepy Sinister again instead of goofy Sinister. I liked the idea of this backstory with Psylocke. I'll tell you, the thing about a kid being ripped away from you would be absolutely devastating. To get this this depth to this character is going to be enjoyable, I think. It's just like what they're doing with Apocalypse over in X-Men #2, if you haven't watched that video yet. I like the idea of giving X-23 her own identity and breaking her away, putting her in a separate book and giving her a chance. And honestly, I think the combination of her and young Cable could be interesting. They're both these awkward teenagers. I didn't think he worked as well over in X-Men #2. The jokes were off and everything, but with another teenager, I could see it going a lot better. I like the idea of the technological event, this Overclock, how it's a technology-based improvement, if you will. It's something that ties directly into this humans and technology versus mutants going forward. So it can be, so where they go with this Apothe character could tie directly into the main titles and what we were seeing from Orcus and stuff like that. Basically a black market Orcus. I think the symmetry that we've seen throughout Hickman's run, I could see this kind of tying directly into that, where they have a black market for the Krakoan plants and drugs and everything, how the humans in turn can have a black market for advancements on the technological side. Now for the bad news on this book. While some of the art was really good, the faces were really bad. Psylocke doesn't consistently look the same throughout this book. I think the colorist did a lot to bail out the artist in this book, so kudos to Frank D'Amarta, but the pencils seemed off. There were some certain scenes that I liked. I liked the scenes with Magneto, the close-ups of the helmet and the eyes hidden in darkness and all that stuff. I really liked those. But throughout the book, the biggest thing that was really bad was expressions. The characterizations and the expressions were horrible. I did not think that they truly captured emotion at all. And like I said, they were inconsistent as far as facial features and stuff like that. Psylocke being the most notable. Anyways, folks, I've got to get this video wrapped up. I've got Half Stack's first basketball game ever. He's in a league, so we got his first basketball game to go to today, so we're very excited about that, and everybody wish him luck. And I still plan on doing a Guardians of the Galaxy #11 review, and I plan on picking up Fallen Order today, and I'll probably be streaming that, so keep a lookout for me. You can just hop on the stream, say hello, and hang out with me for a little bit, and I'll probably talk comic books if anybody's interested while I play Fallen Order. So I'll talk about whatever. I don't care. So, guys, I appreciate you watching. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me to continue to try to reach my goal of 2,500 here. Honestly, I'd like to meet it this weekend. We'll see what happens. And from there, just pick a new goal and keep moving, right? But if you haven't, so hit that subscribe button. Leave a like. It really helps the channel get seen by more viewers. And, of course, I'm always interested in your comments, guys. And thank you for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to do it. That's all I got. Real Comic Stacks out.